Hey, good morning and welcome. My name is Tim Rader, Vice President of Product Engineering, and I'm your host for an interactive tour of this new ADT demonstration home. And of course, as with all ADT security, the security starts outside the home. We have Google outdoor camera covering the driveway, looking at cars. Hey, before we go inside, let's take a look at our Google Floodlight camera out here on the corner of the house, lighting up the front yard and the driveway. And at the home's entryway, we have a Google outdoor camera looking at this space, Google Doorbell, and the new Gen 3 Yale Biometric lock. These two products work together, trusted neighbor, biometric door unlock, first in the industry. Now we're gonna go take a look inside the house. So come on, let's take a tour. And as we walk into the demonstration home, we're greeted by lovely touchscreen. As you saw, it just came out of sleep mode, shows that the front door is closed. Gives us status of the whole security system. Also, we can look at history to see events that occurred today or previously. And smart home control. We can control the lights in the home when we walk in. As an example, I can turn the living room chandelier on. Also, you'll see there's a very pronounced emergency panic button. You hold the panic button down and it'll send the first responders. And as we walk into the space, you'll notice we have a combination smoke, CO, and heat detector on the ceiling. That device will detect all three of those life safety events and will tell you which one occurs. Also, will tell you in English and Spanish to tell you it's a fire event or it's a carbon monoxide event or a heat event. Also, you'll see in the middle of the room a glass break covering all these windows. And then on both the doors, we have open, closed door contacts, another Google camera in the corner. And then over here, we have a motion detector. So if somebody does break in the house, the motion detector will catch them walking through the space. And then here is the base. This is the main processor, main brains, the main box of the whole system. You see when we walked up, it woke up. You see it's ready with the green house. I'm going to arm in an away mode. And you can see that the away is ready, and I go ahead and arm. And you'll see this beauty ring light up, show the customer a countdown timer for the exit delay to leave the install. This is the new ADT Plus open close sensor. It has a built-in switch for the door, also has a shock sensor to protect the glass, and a very cool feature called the bypass, where if I have a pet and I want to let the pet out into the backyard without turning the alarm off and waking up the rest of the house, I hold the button for about 10 seconds. You'll see an LED come on, and that'll indicate to me that the sensor is bypassed. I can then open the door, let my dog out, and close the door, and then when I close the door, the sensor is back in the system. So when I want to let the dog back in, bypass, open the door. And as we come out to the backyard, we have a Google camera over here, a Google camera over here, and now we're going to go to the master bedroom. We have another Yale lock on the master bedroom, but I want to show you code entry. And as we enter the master bedroom, we're greeted by a Google Hub. And as you can see, we can see the status of the security system on the Google Hub. We can also come and look at, go to our home controls. And with home control, we have access to all of our cameras. And Google also controls temperature in the house, and we'll go take a look at the thermostat. And here is the latest generation Google thermostat. It can be controlled by the stat itself, the ADT Plus app, the Google Hub, and or the ADT Plus touchscreen. And now we're going to take a look at the ADT Plus app and some of its features. First and foremost is the arming state. So it shows that the system is ready to arm, but it is disarmed. And I might point out that we're in test mode, so we are not going to send the first responders if we trigger the system. So I'll go ahead and hit the arm button. And when I hit the arm button, I'm presented with three choices on how to arm. The first is away, second is stay, and the third is night. So what is the difference between these three states? So for away, that means I'm going out of the house, maybe going to work for the day. When I go away and I arm the system, it'll turn on the motion sensors and all the interior devices. If I arm it in a stay mode, it'll turn the motions out and create basically a perimeter of security, but allows me to wander through the house. And then last is night, and in night mode, it turns off the entry-exit delay of the front door. If we go down and we can see locks, so I can control my locks here. I can control my thermostat, what mode it's in. And then for cameras, as an example, here's the camera in the living room. Hi, folks. Scrolling down through the many cameras of the system, I can manage the garage door, open or close. It's showing me the garage door is closed right now. If I go into the lighting and appliances control, it's showing me kitchen light is off. It's showing me the overhead lights are at 40%. And if I want to change the brightness of that light, I go into that particular kitchen overhead light and I just use the slider to control the brightness. Now we go to Trusted Neighbor. I have one neighbor and Brad is my neighbor. And in Brad's profile, I can pause his access and I can remove his access, or I can go here to permissions and I can change his access either when an event occurs or by schedule. And then I can also change his entry method. Thank you for taking a tour of the new ADT demonstration house.